I actually technically don't have to wear this.
Well, then, yeah.
I'm good, thank you for the message. So
Do you mind if I nominate?
Bob Keefe used to
You or Chris Ann or Tom?
no, that's fine.
Okay. Well, I don't need. Thank you. God bless you.
I always look at Bob Keefe.
God bless you.
Okay, all set, you guys here?
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. The regular meeting of the Easton Housing Authority, roll call, Commissioner Widdop,
Here.
Commissioner Burrows.
Here.
Commissioner Tebow.
Here.
And Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy.
I'm here.
And Commissioner Dennis Sheedy is here. Agenda item number 1, EHA officer position reorganization.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve Chairperson Dennis Sheedy to the chairperson position for the next year.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Widdop, a second by Commissioner Christian Sheedy. Any discussion?
Can I make one question? What's the current, what are the current positions?
I'm chair, Pam is vice chair, Don is treasurer.
Commissioner and state appointee.
Can I make a motion that we fill the slate as it has been?
I'll second that motion. Fine with me.
I don't know, is that,
Yeah, you can, yeah,
okay. I have no objection, I'll withdraw my motion.
okay.
Dawn, would you accept the treasurer?
Pam, you
Yes.
accept the vice?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a motion by Commissioner Tebow and a second by Commissioner Christian Sheedy. All in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item number 2, the summer meeting schedule. Generally, through the summer months, people are on vacation, it's hard to meet quorums. We usually take July and August off unless there's a need for us to meet, which if that situation should arise, the director would notify me and we would have a board meeting as long as we, we'd throw out dates and make sure that we could have a quorum. And usually that's for certificates of completion or something that can't wait till the September meeting, those type of things. So if anyone has any comments or,
Just that it would most likely be a short meeting, if at all, but it still has to follow the posting schedules, correct, Kathy?
correct,
Yes.
correct, yep, it always has to be 2 business days, basically,
Correct.
48 hours.
But I mean, we've done 5-minute meetings.
Yeah, yep, so. If there's no objections, I would entertain a motion that we approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Tebow, a second by Commissioner Burrows. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
So, excuse me,
So-
does that mean you have no meetings for June, July, and August?
For July and August, we will not have a meeting unless there's a need for one.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 3, the minutes of the May 16th, 2023 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tebow, a second by Commissioner Widdop. Any discussion or concerns regarding the minutes of May 16th? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is unanimous.
I will abstain.
Okay, 1 abstention, so we have four ayes and 1 abstention. Agenda item number 4, the May warrant in the amount of $170,001.59.
I will make a motion that we approve the warrant for May 2023 for $170,000, $171.59.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Christian Sheedy, a second by Commissioner Widdop. Any discussion?
I have one question. There's blacked out document receipt here. What's the purpose of that?
Resident's name. It was a reimbursement. What had happened was, for whatever reason, there was a half problem with utilities and they were clients. So we had to black out the names. And you can see they were credited and then re-signed. They were on the utility check when they should have been made out just to National Grid. The new system put the resident's name on the check
the
instead
check.
of National Grid.
I had a question on the revolving fund. Payments for workers' comp, there looks to be 2 credits. and one charge. I'm just, am I reading that right?
Yeah, it was just input incorrectly and we had to redo them.
Okay.
We're learning the new system.
Okay.
So when they were put in the wrong account, we had to redo it. Instead of the revolving, it was put in as 400-1, which is a non-account.
If I could make comment on that, it's much easier to read.
Yes. The only thing it doesn't give you is the description, but I brought the bills in case anybody did have a question.
And if I could add to that, think of the paper, the trees that we're gonna save, and the shredding costs. I noticed the shredding costs went up. And I do have a question on the NESB account. $202
Yep.
to Hartford Insurance. What is
That's a
the-
policy endorsement for the property insurance, and it came in late, and I didn't want to have a late fee, so I used the debit card to pay it instead of a check to avoid the late fee, so I made sure.
Property.
Yeah, it's the policy
Housing,
endorsement.
okay. Is that a monthly?
No, that's annual. That's just the endorsement.
Oh, okay.
What, can you,
The Hartford
what's the
the
endorsement? I don't know
boiler,
what the
isn't it
term-
for the boiler?
Oh, the boiler insurance?
Yeah,
Just the term endorsement, as
that's what they call it.
they call it the endorsement?
Yeah, they call it an endorsement to renew the policy. They've
Legal,
always, yeah.
Sounds like that's a second component.
insurance company legal lease. Boiler, thank you.
That's usually procured by the department anyhow, the boiler insurance.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
never heard the term endorsement.
Actually,
I mean, I heard the term, but.
Yeah.
Landscape.
Excuse me?
We used to do it by landscape and glue all the lawns up, and
Yeah,
you can do that when you go, or get used to it.
I can do it the other way too.
Just gives you more room to write memos about
Mm-hmm.
what it is.
Any other discussion or concerns regarding the May warrant? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That is unanimous. Agenda item number 5, the April 2023 financial statements.
I'll make a motion, we accept and place on file the accountant's report.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Burrows, a second by Commissioner Chris Anchidi. Any discussion?
I know last meeting, we didn't have the reserve amount on there, and I thought it was around 97, but it's 95.3% right now.
I highlighted it.
Thank you. And I also would like to bring to your attention the fact that our interest income is up, because when I called TD Bank to ask about new rates, and I was looking at getting new rates for the money markets that we currently have that were at 1.76, they automatically increased them to 3.5 without having to change the accounts or anything, which is unusual, so that worked out well.
Excellent.
I have a comment relative to, I have a question and a comment. First, I'll ask the question, under the operating expenditures administrative, sundry administrative expense for the month was 9,000, well, it was over by 7,341 from the budget. And I was wondering what occurred to create that overage.
You know, that is a good question. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't, it might have been consulting fees for the section. No, it wouldn't have been section 8 because it wouldn't be charged to that account necessarily. I can look into that and get back to you, Pam.
Okay, thanks. Maybe a,
I'm sure there's a simple explanation, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
sure, if you blast me an email, I'll forward it to
Yep.
everyone else.
Absolutely.
And the other question I have is, if this is a comment, and under the utilities, each of the utilities went over budget for the month. See, it's easy for me to read this because it's just one month. When we're doing the whole year, it's hard. Anyways, each of these utilities, water, electric, septic, even the solar operator were, over budget. But if it hadn't been for the net metering credits, we would have been over budget for that month in that category. by almost 30,000 instead of 20,000. And I just was,
We're always playing catch-up with utilities, there's no rhyme or reason. A lot of times utilities are up because of the time of year that they are. We're
Mhm.
taking the cooling season still and adjusting that. There's no rhyme or reason to
Yeah.
utilities, but, and then you'll notice sometimes in October, utilities are way down, when you think they'd be up, but then it's,
Yeah. I'm just really grateful that we still are getting the credits.
oh yeah, that's a
Um,
20-year contract.
Yay.
If I may ask, on the net operating income,
Mhm.
it looks like a huge difference between what's budgeted and 2880 versus 284.
What one are you on?
Section 8.
Section 8.
Section 8.
Oh, yeah. Is that the HUD Healthy Road?
No, just the
Oh,
I just was curious.
net operating income.
I can't explain that.
In a percentage, it's very large, up in dollars and cents, it's not. I don't think in fact, I think we'll see that erode as you get more into, I mean, I see a payment to Taunton for their management fee
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
Thank you.
And they're always reallocated as we do payments. The fee accountant's always adjusting it between Section 8 salaries. And because part of the salaries, even for the office staff, are charged to Section 8.
Yeah,
So he does all those allocations.
just when I saw the prorater and that, and the actual, thank you.
I wonder if maybe when he did the budget figure of $19,091 a month, maybe he was basing that on, I remember him saying that he was anticipating it being much more than what Taunton offered us. Remember he was
Well,
saying that was
yes,
a
it
good
was.
deal?
Yeah, but
So
that's,
maybe
I
that's where the
don't
confusion
believe he
is.
did that. He might have allocated into there the cost of, things like the inspections that we're still gonna have to pay for
Oh,
Section
okay.
8 and things of those nature. There are
So
other
once again-
expenses that go along with that, yes.
Once again, one of those things where from month
Right,
to month
and like I
things
said,
change.
part of our admin salaries for the staff we currently have are prorated out of that Section 8 program as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or concerns regarding the April 2023 financial statements? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is unanimous. Agenda item number 6, certificate of substantial completion. Fish number 088075, Elise Community Room.
Mr. Chairman, if I may also make a recommendation to approve, I had put on the table for everybody for the same project number, the certificate of final completion as well on that same project. If we could entertain a motion perhaps to approve both.
So he's accomplished this lovely
Yes,
junk punch list.
yes, that would be Barry. Yes, he has. Everything is done, the washer dryer is in.
I've never seen anything quite so ridiculous. Whatever.
I
As long as
agree,
it's done.
Chrisanne. I'm reading the punch list like this,
Yeah, turning the paper.
and I thought,
What is he talking about? I can't read his writing.
and
I
his
don't know if
writing
he's
is
upside
lousy,
down.
it's like so unprofessional.
And then the next one did a great job.
Yes.
Which is Howard, which I'm. So,
They
yeah.
did do a good job. Everything is, all the punch list items have been addressed, they haven't been up there, everything's going smoothly. I think some of our residents can speak to the fact that the room is complete. There's nothing left to do, the washer and dryer in, hooked up, running.
Yeah, my only concern with the certificate of final completion, it's not an agenda item, and technically, we're not allowed to vote on something that's not
But
on
where we're
here.
talking about that job,
Yeah, well, we were talking about substantial completion, though, not final completion. I'd be willing to listen to the rest of the members, and I just, it's a violation of the open meeting law.
I won't protest you on that.
But it is gonna, they're not
What-
gonna get final completion until September.
Well, it
Well,
needs
we'd
to
have
be
to
in
post,
by
it has to be in by July
July
14th.
14th is when it needs to be in, so there's our first special meeting.
Exactly.
it
And I
didn't
have
come in
to-
until yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, They sent it in yesterday afternoon and they want it approved and paid by June 30th, right? Okay. Don't get my wife going, okay?
The architect actually turned it in on the 2nd. It was the contractor that didn't sign off on it till the 12th.
Well, then he's
Oh,
gonna
the one
need
who
it.
writes in purple, upside down?
No,
No,
that's
no,
the engineer or
that's
the
the
architect.
That was the, yeah.
Oh,
They do punch lists, not the contractor.
So can I, can I make a motion that we approve the certificate of substantial completion for job 88075 Elsie Community Road?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tebow, a second by Commissioner Burrows. Any other discussion concerning the certificate of substantial completion?
You say that punch list has been completed?
That would be final though, right? That punch list would be the final?
Right, that's the final.
I have no problem with having another meeting before July 14th. I mean, even if it's next Tuesday, like you mentioned, 8 in the morning, something
We
like
can
that.
do it Zoom, if you want just a quick one. I know the Sheedies are busy for a couple days.
Well, yeah.
Next Tuesday isn't a bargain either. We already got something for that
No,
day.
it would
Well,
be
as long as
probably.
we have a quorum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can share it if you're absent.
Whatever works for you. If we could do next Thursday, I could. Have to be early though, at 8
You can get
o'clock.
back to me, yeah, why don't you let me know what works for you, at your convenience. Could even wait until the following week.
Okay. But it has to be approved, submitted, and paid by the 14th?
No, as
or-
long as
submitted.
the
Just
submission's
submitted.
in, yeah.
Okay. All right, any other discussion regarding the substantial completion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That's unanimous. Agenda item number 7, certificate of substantial completion, fish number 088076, fire alarm system upgrade.
I'll make a motion that we accept the certificate of substantial completion for fiche number 088076 for the fire alarm system upgrade done by American Electrical Construction.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Widdop, a second by Commissioner Burrows. Any discussion?
I think McRitchie should let the last architect
Know how to do a punch list?
maybe mentor him on how to do a punch list. Wow.
It's like you look at one of them and it's the difference between day and night between
I
those
mean,
two.
a layman could read this one
certificates.
and see what you have to do. The other one,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I still don't know what's outstanding on that one.
Yeah.
On the other one?
Yeah.
No, there's not, yeah, we know though, so. Rest assured, maintenance knows, I know, for instance, this list is still outstanding,
Still
so.
outstanding, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's my understanding that this isn't complete. the
not
punch
at all.
list. Okay.
Well, that's why the punch list is on there, but they've done some of the plates, but there's still a lot more to do.
And that's standard, that's substantial completion.
Yes. Mhm.
I'll make a motion to approve the certificate of substantial completion for job 88076 fire alarm system upgrade.
I
I
will
think we
second
already
that.
have a motion.
Yeah.
Second.
We already have it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
John
apologize.
and I, no problems. They were that good, those contractors. I think those contractors were that good.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is unanimous. Agenda item number 8, proposed vacation policy change request. Kathy?
I'd just like to put this before the board to consider, whether you vote today or you want to take more time to think about it. We have a lot of staff members with a lot of vacation time, and it's getting more and more difficult to be able to take all the vacation time with all the added requirements that we've had to do. And it's just something I'd like the board to consider. at a possibility at the end of the year, if somebody's having trouble trying to use their sick time, that you could pay an allotment of up to 2 weeks, not necessarily 2 weeks,
Their
but
vacation
depending
time.
on the vacation time that's left by the employee. Instead of everybody trying to take a mass exodus between November and December to squeeze their vacation time in.
I would like to speak in favor of this change to the personnel policy. I think it's warranted. I think with what housing authorities are facing right now with retaining good employees, this is a bit of a benefit to them. They don't get much for benefits in terms of, they don't get any bonuses, they don't get any stock options. There aren't a lot of things that we can offer to them to kind of make their positions just even a tad bit more attractive or to show our appreciation. I was able to do this in the authority I retired from, and it did come in handy. I mean, you're at the end of the year. It's Christmas. It's whatever you got going on. It's not a bad thing if you've got all this vacation time that you're really not going to be able to use. It's a nice thing to have. And I also think maybe we ask the staff to definitely plan on taking 1 week of vacation, maybe 2. So everybody needs vacation. We don't want everybody just bankrolling it and cashing it out at the end of the year. They need vacation for their own sanity and health. But I think sometimes the amount of weeks that are offered, which are very generous and lovely if you can manage to take them, it's sometimes very hard pressed on an authority of this size to be able to allow everyone to get their vacations in without making the authority in a deficit in many ways. So I'd like the board to really consider it and to vote in favor.
If I may, as a resident, this past year, I noticed, the amount of staff on duty for that, through that period. And I remember had a little conversation with Kathy about that, trying to explain, as a resident, I noticed that there was few people in the office, maintenance was down. I mean, without jumping forward too much, a renovation took 12 weeks to do from October, November, and December. And I picked up on that when normally it's 6 or 7 weeks. So there is definitely a drop off with in
Yeah,
regards to that.
you kind of
So,
force their hand and they kind of
Yeah,
either take it or lose it. And that's not really fair either.
all across the board, it was rather anemic for those couple of months. So I noticed it, and I don't know if Kathy remembers or not, but we did discuss it a little bit.
I do remember that.
And she explained to me that that was a policy.
I do have a concern, Kathy. It's not, I mean, it can be a substantial increase in your salary line item. You have to watch that. So you might have to say no based upon your budget. It also, the language is very vague. At the end of the calendar year, December 31st, the EHA board may approve up to 2 weeks payout for unused sick time. What would we base that upon? What's the may based upon?
That you could pay up to 2 weeks.
What if
but
I
no
say
more.
yes, no, yes? The board.
Mhm.
I think it's gotta, have you researched this? Is there more language that
There's
would?
not a lot of language out there.
Yeah. I think it puts the board in a situation where you'll be deciding, geez, I have some issues with one employee who I think is using all their sick time and now they're coming for vacation time. Then I guess I might put in there at the recommendation of the executive director then, or something, because I don't know these employees.
Right.
And I've always, and I hate to be a pessimist, but I've started many, many good programs only to have
It blew up in your face.
Unintended consequences. Another way of putting it. So again, I'm not opposed to it for the reasons that Commissioner Sheedy has outlined and Commissioner Burrows. Yes, it does get very difficult. It's usually your best employees who are having these issues because they are constantly trying to accomplish their work, and so they defer and defer and
Well,
defer.
we're getting more time too, because our staff is more
Well, the argument
tenured
against that, I
than
wouldn't
they
make
get.
that argument.
But it is unfortunately what it is. The longer you're here, you get X
I
amount of
under-
weeks, and we have a staff that's steady, which is
So-
hard to find these days as well.
I would then say negotiate reducing the time and paying them, adding it to their salary.
What do you mean?
So at 16 years, you get, at the completion of 20 years, you get 25 days. Reduce that to 20 days and give them 5 days salary increase in their pay. It's the same, it works out the exact same way.
But will the department approve that? I don't know where that fits into the budget. Again, I'd have to talk to the fee accountant. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah,
I did talk to the fee accountant before I even thought of this and said, you know, we have the money that we can do this. It's just a matter of whether it's gonna be allowed budget-wise.
Yeah, I don't have the, again, that might be an issue, yes, because
Yeah.
you're adding it to their salary, you'll go beyond it's a 3.8% increase.
Especially if it's maintenance, you don't think you can. That's always capped at DLI.
DLI, so there may be issues there. We probably can get around it, legitimately do it, but you said think about it. I've just been around too long and have seen too many unintended consequences, and, you know, we'll go into it with good intention to make operations work in November and December better, to reward the hardworking employees, and then something just goes a little awry. But that's my concern. Conceptually, I've asked for it when I was in the union over and over and over. I was always told no, but
We did do it for a number of years in Fairhaven, and we
didn't have the problem.
never had a problem with it. But it's smaller authority. I understand your trepidation, and
Was it upon your recommendation? You would
yeah.
go before the board and recommend that? Okay.
No, it was essentially, once the policy was decided, it didn't go back to the board. It was my decision. Historic.
Oh, it was your decision? Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
Do you have, did the language go into your policy?
There was a paragraph in the personnel policy, yeah.
Yeah.
It was not a separate policy.
No, that's what I mean, because that's what this would be, right, in the
Correct.
personnel policy?
Yeah, I did ask around, and I couldn't find one that actually had it written down anywhere for me to look at.
Do we have a sick or a personal day policy?
That's what I was gonna
Separate
ask.
from
They have
this?
sick time. Yeah,
What
this
is the sick time policy?
Anything
Jane.
after 3 days, they need to provide a doctor's note.
No, I mean sick pay.
You don't get sick pay unless you're out sick. And upon retirement, in accordance with the policy that's in place, you can get up to 20% of no more than 180 days, which I believe is what the town's policy is as well. And I don't know where that came from, but you only get that upon retirement. If you leave, you don't get that sick time.
They earn a day and a quarter a month.
Yeah.
So there's no separate personal or sick days? We're
That-
talking
No,
strictly?
it's just vacation days.
So it was a joint question then, okay.
Mhm.
It's just the vacation days.
Correct.
Because you mentioned a couple of times here, sick. Tom mentioned it and you mentioned it. So basically, what we're saying here is that this particular vacation schedule that we're looking at, which is an excerpt from our employee schedule, policy,
Correct.
that's all they get. They don't get sick pay, they don't get personal days.
No, they do to get sick days.
They get sick days, they don't get paid
Paid.
unless they're out sick. So if you're out sick, you get paid via sick time,
And what is
a
that?
day and a quarter a month. And you
Okay.
can accrue that, as long as you're not using it, it just keeps accruing. But you cannot get paid out of sick time because you've left or you were terminated. Only upon retirement do you receive a portion of that sick time for not abusing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're talking apples and oranges.
Mhm.
My example was, so I now get 4 weeks vacation, and I know I can sell 2 at the end. So I wanna go to the beach. I call in sick. I got thousands of sick hours. I use my sick time. I still end up taking the same amount of time off that year, but now I get 2 weeks of vacation time. That's how you can abuse it.
But max days is 3 without a doctor's note.
Correct.
Yeah, but
Pick
he's
one.
just saying he's just using individual days through the summer to take a
Well,
day, take a day.
that's-
Instead of vacation time, I'll take a sick day, save my sick time.
Do you think people don't do that already?
I don't think we should endorse it.
No, I'm not saying we endorse it, but I'm saying
Well, I
if you
would
think
hope they're
that
not
doesn't
doing it.
happen, you're,
In my 30 years, I never did it. 33, never ever once did it. Never even thought of doing it. So I think most people don't do that. But I'm saying I'm not, I think if you look at the good employees and you do that, that would be fine. But you have to have language for if something goes wrong. So the person you don't know today, you hire them,
Right.
they end up being, geez, not the greatest. And now they start looking at angles. Your language should, I mean, I always look at policies. Policy should anticipate what goes wrong so that
Yes.
you can do it. That's all I'm saying on that. And I don't want the fine men and women who are working here now, because I know most of them, to think that I'm talking about them.
No, I understand.
That's
Believe me.
I-
And I'm thinking on the other end, as you are thinking that way, I'm thinking, we've got a great staff. These guys don't
Won't do it,
take
okay.
sick days. That's where I was coming from it, and in the past 2 years, it has been difficult. Everybody's scrambling to use
Yeah.
sick time. And you know, it's challenging. Even during COVID, these guys, everybody in this office was showing up. They were here. They were doing what they were supposed to, and a lot of people weren't, and then they were allowed to give bonuses out and things of that nature, and we've got a great team. I know things can go awry quickly, and I don't foresee any of the current staff going anywhere in the next 3-4 years either way.
and it's not applicable to anybody who's new to the staff because you're not
They
gonna
wouldn't
get
have
this
that
kind of
much
time on the
state-
books.
Yeah, but
That's my concern.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing, I would make the suggestion that you bring it back to us in September, Kathy,
Will do.
with stronger language that will
Yes.
prevent some of the things we're talking
Okay.
about from being able to.
mhm.
You know, I don't know what's in the Fairhaven policy that you might be able
Yeah, I
to
don't have it
extract. I
anymore.
don't know.
I
I'll
did
see
call
if I-
them and try to get it, and they couldn't find it.
Yeah, well, I can tell them where it is.
I agree with Chair Sheedy, because I would like to see something where, in December, we're not blowing the profit and loss statement, or January, depending on when it's paid out, when you're paying all of your employees this, extra, whatever it is, it's because we have these reliable employees that we would hate to lose.
But if they took
can
all
we-
their vacation time, you'd see the same thing.
And I also don't wanna tell them no, and hey,
Mm,
you're
But
this much,
what I'm
but-
saying is, maybe there's something that you can add to the language where the payout is staggered. In other words, you're not paying everybody in December or January.
Well, it would be January, I would imagine.
What it does is it turns your payroll into a 54-period payroll.
Yeah,
That it could.
yes.
So it does,
Yep,
I
know what you're
mean,
saying.
it does cost additional money. I've done the numbers many, many times in the authority that I work in, I can't afford it. I mean, I'd consider it, I'd absolutely consider it.
Yeah.
100%, but I would like more than a sentence.
I just don't know what that is, and I didn't wanna look
Yeah.
at legal advice, cause there isn't any out there that doesn't charge you anymore.
You know who may have something is, who's the attorney that Narrow's using, Mass Narrow?
Coupleman and Page?
Yeah, I know the woman's name.
Manette,
Oh,
not Manette,
Not Manette, I know who you're
well,
talking about, I
oh
can
God.
see her right now.
Michelle Randazza.
Yes.
Michelle, she's pretty,
She's very
I
good.
I'll call her up and just ask her.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That'll be 1 week of somebody's vacation. No.
I will ask her on the QT and ask her to
No,
please
she's,
contact me.
she's,
I even looked online to see if I could find any verbiage, and it's not that easy.
I will see if I can get that for you, Etta.
Thanks, I did try.
I know you did. Back when there was upheaval and confusion.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I will look, I just brought it to the board for consideration, to not necessarily.
When you say they carried over 2 weeks, was that 2 weeks in excess of the maximum?
No, they all carried 2 weeks over. So for instance,
Oh, okay.
right now
That's the
Staff-
max they can carry over?
is 2 weeks, yes,
Okay.
that's in the policy. So right now we have somebody with 8, we have somebody with 7, we have 2 with 5, and 1 with 4.
Okay.
So there could be days that you could.
Okay, I make, based on agenda item number 8, proposed vacation policy change request, I make a motion that we table this until the meeting in September, which will give the executive director time to come up with some language that might be a little bit more harmonious for the board's concerns.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Widup, a second by Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, that is unanimous. Agenda item number 9, request to close the office on July 3rd. Kathy?
Well, July 3rd is notably a day where we work a half a day, typically, and everybody gets out early, and it happens to be on a Monday this year. I didn't know if the board would entertain closing the office where it be a Monday.
So if I want to make comment on this, because
Yes,
this
you
ties
can.
the other one.
I understand.
So, is it in the personnel policy they get a half day 4th of July?
Yes.
Okay, so that's great, we've approved that. I will 100% support this, I think it's very healthy, it's a nice little reward as Commissioner Sheedy. If we had the vacation buyback, I would be 100% against this. Use your
Right.
vacation, take the day off. That's just conceptually.
I understand, and I've already talked to staff, and all staff is willing to use a vacation time to do that as well.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
have, I'll make a motion to approve the request. Did I make my point clear? Because we haven't approved the 2 week buyback.
I understand. That's why, when I actually put the agenda together, I went, I don't know if this is the best idea.
One right after the other, huh?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'll second Tom's
Thanks.
motion reluctantly, as a resident reluctantly, but as a board member, I support Tom.
Truthfully, it's very quiet around here, usually the 3rd and 4th anyhow.
Famous last words.
Famous lady, you should have never said that.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Tebow, a second by Commissioner Widup. Any further discussion regarding the request to close the office on July 3rd?
The employees using vacation time.
No, this is we're giving it to them.
Oh, I thought that it was that the employees would use their vacation time for that 4 hours.
No, I said if we had approved the buyback, I
Oh,
would
okay.
have absolutely said no on this.
Yeah.
But we have not approved the
Okay.
buyback.
Okay, all right. Cancel that, I'm sorry. I'll still second the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so motions by Commissioner Tebow, second by Commissioner Widup. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That is unanimous. Agenda item number 10, the Executive Director's Report.
I would just want to point out, because I know this has been an issue for a long time, that you are getting more benches.
Yes, we're getting 2 8-foot benches for the walkways between Elise Circle and Parker Terrace. And we're going through MassCore because they can give us the metal benches in a light color to keep them from tipping over or getting stolen because they're a few hundred pounds.
Yeah, no, they're very nice. How much are they, by the way?
Right now, they're $1,000.
I thought they were high.
Yeah. They're 8-foot bench though.
Yeah.
Will they be replacing the ones that you just placed out, the 2 that are out there now?
Yes. We put those there for the time being till we can get
So
these.
they
These
were
have a 6,
temporary.
yeah, this has a 6-week time span to get them made.
So Kathy, I can say I was at another authority today, and they are currently at 200, I think, they pulled 200 people for one unit.
Yep.
But other than that, Champs is working pretty well.
Yep, we finally leased Chandler, 3 Chandler, and now we have 6. And that list pull took 250 people to get somebody in. And I think it was number 143 that was housed.
Yeah.
It just, I know Dawn was mentioning earlier how long it takes for the guys to turn over the units. Sometimes the reason for that is we can't keep up with the champ list, so we'll pull them back and have them do something else, because you want to get that unit ready. However, there are other things that are pressing, and you know you're not going to be able to fill that unit, so it just sits there, and then the guys have to go back in and clean it when we finally get somebody in there, because it gets dusty or cobwebs and whatnot.
I'd be careful on that.
Yep, we usually are very careful
Yeah.
on it, but
I'm
the
just
family
wondering.
units take, as you know, sometimes far more time.
You know, at the end of the year, you're gonna get a report, and
Mhm.
it's gonna have maintenance time,
Yep.
and it's gonna, I'd be careful, but
Mhm.
just to defend your maintenance guys.
Sometimes I think on that one, we're waiting for a contractor too, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, on the countertop.
Yep. I always say to my maintenance guys, forget about Champs, not your problem.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be rated on this, how quickly you turn it over.
Yep, this year we're a publishing year, we're just starting the PMR, actually next week. And then we have the auditors coming in, both the federal and state audits are going on. Always fun during summer.
Never ends.
I recall there was a time when you would get fined if you didn't turn the empty around within a certain period of time. They waived
You
that
have
during
to,
COVID,
we
right?
always file waivers. You basically, on the 30th day, go in and file a waiver and they approve it.
Mhm.
It's almost like a game, if you will.
Mhm.
You know you're gonna need it, you can't file it until the 30th day.
And is it an open-ended waiver, or do you have to
No,
keep
you have
doing
to
it every
keep,
month?
you have to keep
Every
reminding
month?
yourself, and that's when they hit you with
Like
the
you have
thing. If you
nothing
miss
else
by
to
a day,
do?
you're getting a fine. Yep, so,
35 a week seems to be a long time. 8 months?
because we had had a
Sounds like
transfer,
waiting.
remember somebody moved in, was there for a week. We had done a few list pulls. Then we had a transfer, that person moved in, was there for a week, decided they were allergic to carpet, moved back out into their old unit, and we had to pull another list.
Couldn't just pull the carpet.
We just, it was
I'm
brand,
kidding, I'm
yeah,
kidding,
believe me,
I'm kidding.
I had thought about it.
I'm sure you did.
There are so many, you get the offers out there and then the people pull, and then you have to start all over.
And I see all these second floor units and they're
Yeah,
horribly
that's why we
difficult.
pulled well, we need the disabled right now too, and they're working on all that. We got a few lists coming.
The new employee's still working good, huh?
Yeah, only been here a couple of weeks.
How many hours a week is he doing?
18.
How about the office?
Yeah,
she's
she
doing
seems very good, yeah.
She's still in training,
No, she's actually picked it up pretty good. I still have somebody else coming in, helping her with the champ list off and on,
Okay.
just to get the hang of it. She's done the courses, which are free.
Mhm.
DHCD, whatever it is now, puts those on. So, yeah, I think
Yeah.
she's gonna be very good, actually.
That's good, thank
Yeah,
you.
because we'd like to get all of these off the board this summer. That is our goal.
EOHLC.
Yes,
Oh.
Executive Office of Housing and
And
Livable
Livable
Communities.
EOHLC.
That's the new one. When we say DHCD, they, as of June 1st, they have a new, they reorganized with a new director.
No, they're now an executive office.
Oh, I
Where
see.
before they weren't. Well, they
Oh.
had way back in the day they were. Then they
Mhm.
became a department. Now they're back to executive
Yeah.
office.
And that
Thank
was the
you.
governor that
Status.
did that.
So now there's an actual secretary as opposed to an undersecretary.
Thank you. So the new acronym is
EOHLC.
EHLC.
I'll find a creative way to,
Could you please?
I always do. I love playing with this.
Make a motion, we accept and place on file.
Thank you.
Report. You need a motion for that?
Yep.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Burrows, a second by Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy to accept and place on file the Executive Director's Report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That is unanimous. Agenda item number 11, questions and concerns. Barbara, you raised your hand, I'm shocked.
Here I am again. I'm afraid I'm not doing as good a job as I'd like to. I can't see very well, so nobody else seems to want to be in this position. I have 3 things that have been approved by the board. The sidewalks, the Wind Circle Road, and the windows and the siding for the buildings. They've all been approved. Once something has been approved, how do you get the thing going so that it gets done? I mean, it's been approved for 2 years now already, part of it, 3 years.
It's based upon our funding, and when the funding is available, every year we put together a capital improvement plan. It goes for a 5-year plan. And we phase some of these projects in, and it's always based upon the funding that is going to be available or they predict to be available. Until you have that funding, you can't go forward. They put it in motion and they start looking at it, but any of these public projects take time.
There's got to be a solution or something.
There's another problem now because the cost of the projects have gone up by about 50% over the last couple of years. The cash flow has remained the same, so we're at least 50% slower in getting there. And then there's also some emergencies that are coming up, such as the fire alarm systems, where we're being told by code you have to put that first in front of other things. There are other things that are happening where gas pipes need to be replaced, and we've been told by the Department of Public Utilities, you will do this now. So the residents and the board has decided we're gonna do windows, and they say, no, we'll close you down. You have to do these jobs. So those things happen. It's frustrating. Hopefully we can share it with you. As we get frustrated, you'll hear it, how something is not moving along.
You can't deal with someone at the level that gives out the money, that the things have been approved for 3 years and need to be started, and there's, you know, you have to do it. I'm just thinking you have to do things like that in your own house.
Right.
Why don't they act the same way?
It is the same way in your own house. Imagine if you were gonna do your kitchen over and suddenly the roof started leaking.
Yeah.
Well, I have to take care of this roof or it's gonna destroy my new kitchen.
Right.
So you have to do the roof. Well, some of these things are very similar. Other are just regulatory. You're putting your residents in danger if you don't take care of the gas pipes. You're putting your residents in danger if you don't take care of the unknown problem with your fire alarm system. And so they're saying and rightfully so, you have to prioritize this over your new windows.
So the new windows, to me, of course I have a lovely apartment and there's no problem with it, but the roads, the walkways, I know are really treacherous because I walk them. That part that Dawn brought up about the walkway going out of the Lee Circle should really be fixed before the winter. You know, it's not something, well, let me see, I got 3 things, what will I do first, you know?
So you're saying that should be a priority, which it sounds like it should be. I can tell you that Commissioner Sheedy and I believe Executive Director Steiger sit on committees that are trying to increase the funding there. We're working to get legislation passed to increase it by $15 million on the operating.
We're up before the legislature trying to get increased funds, and the bond bill gets floated every 5 years, and that's what supplies the funds for all these major projects. So that bond bill right now is back on the docket basically to be approved, and that's always as to, you know, what is going to be the ask and what is going to be what's approved. And
because it's difficult to understand that it keeps sitting there to be done. And yes, the price has gone up since it was approved, but it's going to continue to go up.
Oh, hopefully it'll go down a little bit. Hopefully, I think it's artificially high now because of COVID, and the supply chains, I think it will come down a little bit. They just published today that inflation has eased. They don't expect interest rates to go up the next time. Hopefully that will happen. But one thing that you can do, and you talk for the residents, you speak because you volunteered, you have elected officials who will vote on this every year. So you have Senator Timmelty here?
Senator Tillman.
Senator
Yes.
Timmelty, you know, let him know that you want him to support that. If, you know, I'm sure they come to some of the events that I hear,
Yes.
and,
He does.
yeah.
Who was the other one, Senator Tim?
And Rep
Senator-
who? Rep,
Is it Cassidy now?
Yes, I was just gonna say Jerry, yes.
Cassidy.
If I may, that section of sidewalk that runs out to Baldwin over Elise, that is moving forward. You know,
It is.
that is moving forward. It's in the design stages, so it's not dead and forgotten about.
Yeah, see, that's good.
And I don't know, the last thing I saw was maybe construction if everything
May
goes
of
through.
next year.
May of next year.
Yeah,
So
we
it
discussed that the
is
last meeting.
moving forward.
Yeah.
It hasn't,
That's
it just
good.
has to go through that process of design and architects and, you know, ooh, I'm learning the hard way
Slap
through.
down
you know.
tire on the walkways is not a big design thing.
No,
Just
There's
There
a
are
lot more
trees
to it.
involved.
A
Well,
lot more to
there's
it
a lot
than
of
that.
problems, you know, that they're not sure who owns the trees, they have to, you know, there's a lot of stuff going
No, I
on.
mean, in the, I keep calling it a park because I came from a park, but in the area, the roads that we walk, the walkways that we walk on, they just have to fill the holes, you know, and be safer. They did it when they dug up for the sewer pipes. or the
And that's
electric
almost
pipes
more
or
dangerous
something.
because it's all coming up and people are, you know, you have all the stone, it's not real
cold
tar,
patch.
it's just a coal patch and it's a problem.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm so long on this. I was curious, is this, whole facility just adults, no families? I know that some of these in other towns have families living in them,
We have family housing, not here, we have 10 family units.
but not in this part
Correct,
here.
not here.
Okay, and, I apologize for my waiting. Oh, I wanted to know if I could have a memorial service of some type for veterans in July, if we could have it for the park. If there's some way that we can go about having like ministers from different churches come and have some music and have people, my thing was, if we put a big envelope in each building, people can just put in the names of the people they want to be remembered.
You could talk to Sheikah about that.
It would be under Sheikah?
Yep.
Okay.
I've seen many of those happen, they're wonderful things, and I think it would mean a lot to people if you could work to get it done.
I do too, and I think, yeah, I think, came from such a park where everybody was so lively, and I really was surprised when I came here that people are not so lively, absolutely.
Well, you do, there is a difference. Remember, we are coming out of COVID, and a lot of people went, they isolated, and they have not recovered from that. Whether you believe, you
I know.
all seem to have recovered. Lots of people have not. I know
Correct.
Mr. Sheedy here is working in Brockton to try to address that issue. It's a real issue, not just here, everywhere. And anything you can do to help, I know you're doing what you can and talking to people, but it's a real issue, especially for the elderly who are so susceptible to this.
Yeah, they've just like given up, you know.
We could talk to Corey, the veterans agent here in town too. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to help out. He's wonderful.
What's his name?
Corey Ahern,
Or-
I can get you his information.
You might get
I'm
some
sorry?
branch of the
I can
military
get
to
you
show
his
up.
information.
Okay, thank you.
So always impressive if you have someone in uniform, always.
Yeah, they might be able to get somebody from the military to actually show up as well.
My son's uniform.
If you
Don't
go with
think I
the-
bring him down, but he.
Go with the veterans
Dad
agent.
That
will.
would be good.
What's wrong with that?
Thank you very much for listening.
Barbara, might I suggest if you talk to Senator Tinley, invite him down to one of your coffee hours, have him in.
I will.
He would love that, actually, he would definitely appear, I'm sure he would,
Might come with a box of Joe.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I know this is far-fetched, but I'm one of these people that I like to plan ahead. I was talking with some people the other day. They were thinking about buying a new car, but they wanted to buy an electric vehicle. But then again, where would I plug it in to charge it? Has the state taken that as a consideration on all these public housings that at some point they're gonna have to put in charging stations? Because that's the future.
So the code says if we do the parking lots over, if we rebuild them, we have to do so many spaces and wire them for electricity. I did contact the old DHCD about this, and they sent me to another department altogether. And then the other department said, well, you should monitor us for grants. But yes, it's gonna be something we have to think of in the future.
And part of asking that question, I noticed there's a few around Easton that you can actually go to plug into. But the biggest thing, what I found interesting, is that Tesla is now allowing GM and Ford to use their stations to charge.
The way I think this will work, I've been approached once on this, is that private vendors will come in and say, we will wire your parking lots, and they will put meters on it.
Yep.
And you will pay them, and they'll do it for a profit.
Yeah. But I do think it's, at some point, needs to be considered, because I just think it's, before you know it, people are gonna be here with electric vehicles and they can't charge them.
I think it will turn out kind of what they did with the air source heat pumps at some point in the game. It will evolve eventually.
Yep,
Just saw 12 electric charging stations at Target in Stoughton.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, they've had them for a long time.
Yeah.
Mansfield has them over at El Bean area.
Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you
Thank you
for
for coming.
talking.
Any other concerns, discussion?
I have something that I saw just today, over in the police circle. I don't know if it's, important or what, but I was going around to check to see if these agendas were on the boards, and when I was doing that, over in the Lee Circle, there's, a flyer from some company that, is looking to do business as, painting, maintenance type stuff. And I just didn't know if you knew that. Is that supposed to be there? Isn't that something?
I don't know. No idea. I don't know what
Yeah,
the
I
flag.
saw it myself, it's on the bulletin boards. And I
Yeah.
was
We
doing
see
laundry.
stuff, people will come in, homemakers, and put stuff up. You can take it down.
Yeah.
We'll take it
But
down.
We
Well, I just-
can't have somebody come in and do over our apartment.
No, you cannot.
Yeah, well, that's.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let you know,
Thank you.
so.
Any other questions or concerns? Before I entertain a motion to adjourn, next meeting, next official board meeting would be September 12th at 5 o'clock.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Tebow, second by Commissioner Burrows. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nobody.
I agree with you when I saw those two items together,
I know. And then I said, what am I gonna do? Might as well just put it all out there.
I'm sorry, I have to make